There's a process happening inside your body right now that decides whether a tumor can grow or starves to death before it ever becomes a problem. It's called angiogenesis, and it turns out some of the most ordinary foods in your kitchen directly influence it. Today, I am breaking down 5 of them, what the research actually says, and why most people have never heard this. Stick around for number 3. It's probably already in your fridge and you're using it wrong. Every tumor, before it can grow past the size of a pinhead, needs one thing: blood supply. Without new blood vessels feeding it oxygen and nutrients, it simply can't expand. This process of new vessel growth is called angiogenesis, and it's completely normal. It's how your body heals wounds and builds muscle. The problem is when it goes into overdrive and starts feeding something it shouldn't. Researchers have spent decades studying which natural compounds can help regulate this process, essentially keeping it in balance. I want to be upfront. This isn't about a miracle cure. None of these foods replace medical treatment or guarantee prevention. What the science does show is a consistent, repeated link between specific foods and healthier angiogenesis regulation. Let's go through them. Number 1 is tomatoes, but specifically cooked tomatoes. Raw tomatoes contain lycopene, the compound responsible for that deep red color. But here's the part most people get wrong. Your body absorbs significantly more lycopene when tomatoes are cooked, especially with a bit of olive oil. Multiple population studies have found that men with higher tomato and lycopene intake had notably lower rates of prostate cancer diagnosis. Lycopene appears to interfere with the signaling that tells blood vessels to grow toward abnormal cells. It's not a guarantee, but it's one of the most consistently replicated findings in this entire field of research. Practical takeaway: a half cup of tomato sauce or a serving of cooked tomatoes a few times a week with a drizzle of olive oil is enough to meaningfully raise your lycopene levels. Number 2 is green tea, and the compound doing the work here is called EGCG, a type of catechin found almost exclusively in green tea, not black tea, because of how it's processed. EGCG has been studied for its ability to block the formation of new blood vessels that tumors rely on. In laboratory studies, it's shown the ability to interfere with that vessel growth signaling at multiple points, not just one. That's part of why researchers find it so interesting. It doesn't rely on a single mechanism. Now, here's the catch most videos won't tell you. Brewing temperature matters. Water that's too hot, boiling, actually destroys a portion of the EGCG. The ideal range is around 160 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit, well below boiling, steeped for about 3 minutes. 2 to 3 cups a day is the range most of the research is built around, not 12, not 1. Number 3, and this is the one I mentioned at the start that's probably already in your fridge, is mushrooms, and you're likely cooking them wrong if you want the benefit. Certain mushroom varieties, particularly shiitake and maitake, contain compounds that have been linked in research to immune modulation and reduce blood vessel feeding toward abnormal cell clusters. One widely cited study found that women who ate mushrooms regularly had a measurably lower incidence of breast cancer compared to those who rarely ate them. Here's the mistake. Most people saute mushrooms briefly in a hot pan, which actually doesn't break down their tough cell walls enough to release these compounds. You want to cook them longer than you think, at least 10 minutes on medium heat to actually unlock the benefit. Number 4 might be the most surprising on this list. Dark chocolate specifically. Chocolate with a high cacao percentage, not the sugary milk chocolate bars at the checkout aisle. Cacao is rich in flavanols, compounds that have been studied for supporting healthy blood vessel function generally, including, in some research, the regulation of abnormal vessel growth. The key word is regulation. Flavanols don't just block angiogenesis, they help keep it balanced, which is actually what your body wants. The catch: processing destroys flavanols. Heavily processed alkalized cocoa, called Dutch processed, or loses most of its flavanol content. Look for raw or minimally processed dark chocolate, 70% cacao or higher, and treat it as a daily square or two, not a free pass to eat the whole bar. Number 5 is berries. Strawberries and blueberries specifically stand out in the research thanks to a compound family called anthocyanins, which is what gives them their deep color. Anthocyanins have shown, in multiple lab studies, an ability to suppress the specific growth factor that signals blood vessels to form toward tumor cells. One interesting detail: frozen berries often retain just as much, sometimes more, anthocyanin content as fresh ones because they're frozen at peak ripeness rather than sitting on a truck for days. So, if fresh berries are expensive or out of season, frozen is not a downgrade. It's a completely valid, often cheaper alternative. Let's run through it fast. Tomatoes, cooked with healthy fat a few times a week. Green tea, 2 to 3 cups, brewed under 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Mushrooms, cooked longer than you think, 10 plus minutes. Dark chocolate, 70% plus cacao, minimally processed, a square or two daily. Berries, fresh or frozen, both work. None of these are about restriction or perfection. They're about consistency, small additions repeated over months and years that the research keeps linking to better outcomes. If this kind of research-backed breakdown is useful to you, the best thing you can do is subscribe. I'm covering one topic like this every week, and next week's video is about a habit that's quietly raising inflammation in almost everyone's body without them realizing it. Drop a comment and let me know which of these 5 foods you're adding first. I'll see you in the next one.